We're going to lead off this hour with a CBC News investigation looking into a disturbing way that abusers can use technology from Canada's big banks to harass their victims. And that's at a time when all other forms of communication have been blocked. Now, you'll remember that we brought you the story earlier this week of Angie Sweeney. She was killed by her former partner in her home in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, in a shocking incident of intimate partner violence. Before she was killed, she had blocked her partner on every platform, social media mechanism, anything she could think of. But he found a way around that and started sending her abusive messages through e-transfers. It was Katie Nicholson who brought us that part of the story earlier this weekend. She's been digging into the issue since. Back with me to begin this hour. Tell me a little bit more about how this works, Katie, but also what Canadian banks are doing to address this.
So essentially, this is when you try to send somebody an e-transfer, there's usually a little box where you can attach a message. It's often just sort of, this is for the skates that I bought. Yeah, here's your money. This is what it's for, sort of thing. In this case, what we learned is that Bobby Hallard used it to put abusive messages just to be able to get another way to reach Angie Sweeney. We asked Canada's big banks, is this something that you're tackling? Is it a problem? What are you doing to put in place to protect people? Only TD, which was Angie Sweeney's bank, and Interac got back to us. TD said that they were appalled to hear about this, and they encourage anybody who gets an abusive e-transfer to contact them. Interac told us that when they get any kind of a notification that there has been an abusive e-transfer, they will notify the financial institution. What we heard, though, from the institution is that they don't have a way of blocking a specific e-transfer to a specific email. So if somebody is sending a bank something to your account, there is no way to really block that email or that sometimes it's to your cell number, that sort of thing. So they don't have that in place. And this is a particularly insidious form of technology-based gender violence, or a technology-based gender-based violence. We hear from Canadian women's shelters. And so we sort of talked to Rhiannon Wong, who's in Vancouver, and she looks at this. She looks at the different ways that online harassment plays out for people trying to leave relationships. So sometimes that's threats and harassment through new technologies, things like e-transfer. She doesn't know how often this happens in Canada, but that is one of the most common things, this sort of new emergent technologies as a way of getting to a way of abusers using to get to the people that they are trying to victimize. And so she says this is really a particularly insidious form of abuse, because when you think about it, people who are trying to leave an abusive relationship, often there are children involved, there are issues of spousal support, there are financial vulnerabilities. And so women have to decide if they're going to open these abusive messages or not. Here's Rhiannon Wong.
Oftentimes, folks have to send custody or spousal support to somebody. And in terms of an abusive relationship, oftentimes a survivor has to decide on if they're going to actively resist and put up and view these harassing and threatening messages, or not be able to put food on the table. And so they have to make that choice. Especially because there are no reporting systems through e-transfer in a lot of the major banking corporations right now.
And the Online Harms Act, the bill that was tabled on Monday, it does not include the specific type of online harassment. And Wong says that was a big miss.
You know, this is not something that's limited to Canada. This is something that, as you've investigated further, is occurring elsewhere. In Australia, notably, they've really dealt with this. So what have you found out? Yeah,
this became a huge issue, specifically during the pandemic. And so banks, they introduced filtering software. So you can't actually, if I was going to send you something and I had I said nasty things about you in the text part, the bank would prevent me from sending that message. I cannot send the e-transfer if it has certain abusive identified words in it. And one bank, the Commonwealth Bank, it's been so successful with this filter, they say it's blocked 400,000 abusive e-transfers a year since they brought it in. They have brought in the source code that they use for this successful filtering system. They are offering it free to any bank, any financial institution in the world that wants to bring this in to minimize harms to people who are being abused, victims and survivors. So that's one thing. Another thing that one other bank did is they created a reporting tool. So if you do get an abusive e-transfer, you can automatically, through your app, report that to the bank as well.
But to underscore, those are things that are available in Canada to the banks should they want to adopt them. Haven't yet.
Call down under, they'll share the source code.
All right.